When people think of Frasier, they tend to imagine amusing scenes of droll repartee between the Crane brothers, Frasier, and Niles. But this image of the show does it a major disservice, as there's far more to Frasier's comedy than its witty one-liners, as brilliant as they often are. In fact, it's the subversion of Niles and Frasier's self-styled wit and sophistication that underpins much of the humor in the series. Many of the show's biggest laughs are delivered through forms of comedy other than self-conscious wordplay from its self-important central character and his highly-strung brother. Some of Frasier's best episodes rely primarily on physical set pieces and farcical theatrics for their humor, rather than simply Frasier and Niles' trademark witticisms. What's more, it's usually one of the Crane brothers who's the butt of these less cerebral jokes, due to their lack of practicality as characters, and the yawning gap between their opinions of themselves and reality. The supporting characters in Frasier produce their fair share of big laughs, too, but ultimately none of them can compare with the sheer hilarity invoked by Frasier and Niles multiple times an episode. Niles and Frasier's witty one-liners are Frasier's most recognizable comedy trope. The show is synonymous with the Crane brothers' witticisms. Regardless of the clever and nuanced ways in which the show employs various kinds of humor, the comic currency in which Frasier deals most of the time is the wit of Niles and Frasier Crane. Delivered stoner-faced with the diction of an English gentleman at a costume party, Niles' one-liners are so playful with words and sardonic in tone that they often take a second to sink in. Meanwhile, his brother Frasier is fond of culturally specific metaphors and hyperbolic exclamations. The more straightforward Marty Crane and Niles' romantic interest Daphne Moon still sometimes get the last laugh with lines of their own, such as when Marty asks Frasier why he doesn't do his philosophizing on the toilet like everyone else. Nevertheless, it's Marty's two sons who set the show apart with their verbosity and pomposity, offering up a style of comic dialogue that no other show can match for cultivated sophistication. Niles Crane, in particular, excels himself with incomparably cunning wisecracks, to the extent that we can almost hear audiences on the laughing track waiting with bated breath for his next joke in any scene he's part of. Frasier might ultimately take center stage in the sitcom, but it's Niles who regularly steals the show. Frasier's jokes vary more in style and tone than his brother's, particularly when his antagonistic work colleague Roz Doyle is involved. Either way, it's a way with words born out of the Crane brothers' class snobbery that distinguishes Frasier as a sitcom apart from the rest. The best moments in Frasier come from subverting this trope with slapstick and farce. Frasier is even funnier when the brothers are out of their depth. On the other hand, the funniest moments in Frasier's original 11-season run tend to come from the rug being pulled from under Frasier and Niles Crane's snobbish sense of superiority. Even the best quotes in Frasier don't make us laugh as hard as the instances in which the wit Frasier and Niles so depend on leaves them completely ill-equipped to navigate more practical life situations. Rather than laughing with the Crane brothers at their wonderfully crafted punchlines, it's even funnier to laugh at the complete mess they so often make of their lives. No one-liner, however witty, can compete with the image of Niles trying to fly a kite or kill an eel, Frasier helpless in bed with a minor cold, or the two brothers both struggling to ride a bike, side by side. So often, it's Marty or Daphne who show Frasier and Niles up for the hopelessly out-of-touch pretenders they are. That the Crane brothers are known for making self-righteous quips makes the complete subversion of this dynamic with slapstick sequences or farcically comical errors even more brilliant. Frasier's physical comedy is an underrated aspect of the sitcom. Many of the show's best scenes are essentially physical set pieces. Indeed, physical comedy is one of the most important and underrated elements of Frasier, which helps knock each of the Crane brothers down a peg or two. Each of them routinely undermines their intellectual merits by betraying physical shortcomings of one form or another. Niles might be supremely sharp and nimble with words, but another of his defining qualities is his complete lack of spatial awareness. He's a total klutz, but is typically too proud to admit it, with the result that several of Frasier's very best moments stem from Niles' calamitous interactions with the world around him. Most famously, in the season 6 episode, 3 Valentines, Niles sets fire to Frasier's couch in surely one of the most spectacular slapstick sequences in sitcom history. From start to finish, the scene showcases Niles' unparalleled level of incompetence when handling physical tasks, along with the exquisite comic timing of Frasier stalwart Eddie the dog, to hilarious effect. He's seemingly clueless about the danger of ironing clothes onto which flammable products have just been applied, and he shows a staggering lack of awareness in assuming the burning smell is coming from his food. Things get even worse once the fire starts. Niles' ineptitude reaches new levels, as he picks up the burning clothes and throws them onto the couch, before starting a wrestling match with a fire extinguisher. The entire scene is a masterclass in physical comedy from David Hyde Pierce, which proves more than any other that Niles isn't quite as brilliant as he thinks he is. Frasier might not be quite as bad as his brother in terms of clumsiness, But he's still at his funniest when he physically loses control of himself. Whenever the elder Crane brother is at a loss for what to do, he tends to lose his cool and act out physically, becoming loud, angry, and hysterical. Probably the funniest example of this trait is his "People of Seattle" tirade from the balcony of his apartment in the Season 3 episode High Crane Drifter. What makes Frasier lose his temper so funny is that it invariably occurs when the world doesn't conform to his understanding of how things should be. The tantrums he throws when things go wrong reflect his narrow and inflexible approach to the world around him, in complete contrast to the open-minded man of culture he believes himself to be. This gap between perception and reality is the crux of Frasier's true genius as a sitcom and explains why the Crane brothers are even funnier when we laugh at them rather than with them.